This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we cover some of the headlines that you may have missed this morning, but we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 17th of December 2021, and I am Horio.
I am GW.
And I am GK. In case you missed the headlines, here they are. We begin with the Daily Nation. Ruto MPs plot showdown on Uhuru Raila Azimio plans. The Standard. Raila writes storm to craft new coalition. The Star. Oka's 5 tough options as Raila Ruto dash for 2022. Wedi. And the People Daily. How student killed 10 girls in dome fire. So before we get into the headlines, I think we can all agree that we're going to put aside the People Daily out of respect.
Yes.
And we're going to take a look at the other 3 headlines. So what did you guys think of the 3 headlines? Horia, why don't you begin?
Personally, I feel like the Star was very wordy. Just when you were reading it, it was very wordy, and I feel like it's also very speculative. So
it's analysis, it's not really news.
It's analysis, exactly. So I feel like we should toss the Star.
So the
in
Star.
my
I agree
opinion.
with
that. You agree?
With
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Daily Nation does not inspire. It's talking about UDA, who people who are vowing to shut down amendments to electoral law. It's in my view, it's not very speculative. It's not very inspiring.
I agree with that.
So can we toss the Daily Nation as well?
Yeah, we can toss it.
Yeah, I think we toss it as
Okay,
well.
so that leaves us with just the Standard. So
Yes.
the Standard is interesting, but is it good enough to become our winning headline, or are we just tossing all of them? What do you guys think?
Okay, before we toss everything, the only thing I will comment about the headlines is clearly people have understood there's something that's coming. Yeah, we're seeing MPs trying to shut down something.
Yes.
Raila rolling through a storm through something.
Yeah.
They can see the winds of change are coming.
Yes.
And there's something to speak about there.
Yeah.
But today we are not inspired.
Yeah.
So does that mean we're trashing all the headlines?
I think we toss
we
all
all
headlines.
agree.
So we toss all the headlines.
No winning headlines.
Horio,
today. Yes.
what do you want to tell us today?
All right. Today, as we reflect on the year that has passed, we would like to address everyone's favorite hustler, William Ruto. And we will do this in the most African way possible with the story. A Kikuyu father and his son were walking through the hills of Nyandarua. Suddenly, the son knocked his little toe on a rock and yelled, "Ah!" To the young boy's surprise, he heard a voice repeat itself from the mountain, "Ah!" Curious, he yelled back, "Who are you?" It answered back, "Who are you?" At this point, he screamed at the mountain, "I admire you." The voice answered back, "I admire you." Angered by the response, he screamed back, "Coward." He received the answer, "Coward." Now, he got a little confused and he turned to his father and asked, "What is going on?" The father smiled and asked him to pay attention. At this point, the father shouted at the mountain, "You are a champion." And the mountain shouted back, "You are a champion." The boy did not understand. Then the father explained, "People call this an echo. It gives you back everything you do or say." Dear William Ruto, for 4 years you have been walking through the mountains of GEMA. Like the small boy, you have been yelling at the mountain. Every time you tell them, "Kazi ni kazi," they respond back with, "Kazi ni kazi." Every time you call them hustlers, they call you Chief Hustler. Every time you call them Mama Mbogas, they call you Mama Mboga too. Every time you tell them that Uhuru has abandoned you, they also respond to you that Uhuru has in fact abandoned you. Now, Raila, who is more experienced, has shown up at the mountain of GEMA, and he has told them, "Inawezekana." And the mountain has responded with a big "Inawezekana." And if Raila is gaining ground, it is because he knows the echoes of politics and he knows which ones to listen back to. Now, you will lose 2022 not because you didn't talk to the mountain, but because you did not understand that all these years they have been mimicking your small voice while they were waiting for the experienced voice which is Raila. To William Ruto this Christmas season, we send the words of the greatest leader himself, which say, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they will follow me. A stranger they simply will not follow, but will flee from him, because they do not know the voice of strangers." William Ruto, the GEMA nation know how to hear, what to ignore, and whom to follow. Merry Christmas, Mr. Deputy President.
It is no secret that GEMA Nation will be the kingmakers come 2022. And we say this because every election in our country's history has been a battle to either suppress or capture the mountain. In our view, 2022 will be no different. And as we close the door on yet another year, we would like to pose this question to our dear GEMA Nation. Why are you shy about the power of your numbers? Candidates have come to flirt with you to earn your vote, yet you remain silent. So today, we want to encourage GEMA to own their muscle and take care of their own interests. It is no lie that GEMA is torn between two guardians. But will they lead or be led? And this reminds us of the tale of the young man, the worm, and the two circles. Once upon a time, a young man sat at the foot of a mysterious mountain to ask God for advice that he needed. He wanted to know, where will he be in 2022? God listened to the man and then drew two circles on the soil, one yellow, one orange. Then he placed a worm between the circles, saying, "If this worm crawls towards the orange circle, your future is great. If it crawls towards the yellow one, you are finished." As soon as he said that, the worm began crawling towards the orange circle, and the young man started to jump with joy. But suddenly, the worm paused and changed its direction. It started to crawl towards the yellow circle. Just before it entered the yellow circle and sealed the fate of 2022, the young man grabbed the worm and placed it in the orange circle. Looking down at the man, God smiled and declared, "Your future will be great because you have taken it into your own hands." Dear GEMA Nation, as you sit at the foot of the mountain and ask God about your fate, remember this: numbers don't lie. Historically, since 1992, ethnic arithmetic has reigned supreme, not changed a single bit. Whether you are on the ballot or not, you will be the deciding factor in the elections. But you have to make the right decision to protect your interests. If you leave things to chance, you will find yourself in the political wilderness for the next 50 years. So, GEMA, ask yourselves, who is listening to your voice as it echoes on from the mountain? Who will heed to your demands and is predictable? Who do you trust to be fair with your country, your wife, and your children? As we remember the past and the wishes we have for our future, Baba's gospel truth has already begun to turn the tides. He is probably sitting somewhere by a lake, giving thanks and taking time to reflect, while his counterpart is still burning fuel and throwing tantrums at youths who won't take him seriously. Remember, a day wasted on others is not wasted on oneself.
President Uhuru Kenyatta, in his Jamhuri Day speech this year, reminded us of the importance of history, the way in which history can inform our future, and the importance of embracing it unedited. But he also warned us that there are some people who will tell us that the history of country is meaningless and unnecessary. And as we enter this Christmas period, which is full of celebration and full of reflection, we want to agree with the President's words. We too want to issue a word of caution for country to consider, because we are guided by the age-old saying that those who run from history are doomed to repeat it. So we ask, what path should the Republic be taking into the new year? Are we being led to ignore our past or guided to incorporate its lessons into our future? This reminds us of the story of a man who set off on a journey to run from his past. And while running from it, he found himself distracted. While on his journey, the man encountered a huge aggressive elephant that started to chase him. He ran for his life. While he was running, he spotted a well and thought to himself, what a perfect place to hide. However, when he looked deep into the well, he saw a huge poisonous snake at the bottom of the well. Glancing back, the elephant was drawing nearer, and so the lost man had no choice but to contend with the snake. He quickly jumped into the well, but to avoid the snake, he saw a thick, thorny creeper on the side of the well. He climbed the creeper. At that moment, he thought he was safe. But to his distaste, 2 mice started to nibble on the top of the creeper. He was doomed. Instantly, his eyes stumbled upon a beehive that was dripping with sweet honey. In that moment, the man forgot all about the dangers he was in and instead started to taste that sweet honey that was dripping from the hive. Soon enough, a stranger walked by and saw the distressed lost man in the well. The stranger offered to help the man, but the man was now overcome with greed and refused to listen to the stranger. Instead, he opted to continue to drink that sweet honey. The story does not end well for the foolish, lost man. What is our point here? We cannot allow the country to fall to the same fate as this lost man. The lesson of this tale is that luck will eventually run out if we run away from our problems. And in our view, it could be in the interest of some for Kenya and her people to keep running, to forget where we came from and where we are headed. Some individuals want us to forget the history of post-election violence, to forget corruption, to forget land grabbing, and to forget ICC. And so, as we reflect during this holiday season, we have some questions for the nation to ponder. In whose hands is our future safe? Like the lost man, have we become distracted by handouts and church services? Which version of history are we destined to repeat if we do not face it? Fellow Kenyans, Martin Luther King told us, we are not makers of history. We are made by history. Think very carefully and have a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. So, on a day where we had no winning headline, we'd like to remind you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to hit that like button. We're also on your TV screens. Find us on Pang Free to Air, GoTV and Star Times. Yes. And as we head into the holiday season and come to the new year, I would like to leave you all with a quote that's been read before by Serbia that I thought people should ponder for the new year. It's by Jean de La Fontaine. It says, a person often meets his destiny on the road to avoid it. I wonder who I'm talking about right there. So, thank you so much for watching, and we will be with you next time.
Merry Christmas.
Prosperous New Year.